Denying nature, especially human nature, denying it its purpose, putting the main purpose of reason not in disinterested knowledge, but in the service of action, these are the major betrayals that divert today's culture from their mission. Other deviations ensue, of which, according to Professor Warren Murray, the independence of art from morality counts for one of the worst. Human intelligence is mainly speculative. Like every intelligence, its natural end is knowing, that is, representing and explaining all that is with a preference for what involves more being, more stability. This is its main end, but not its only end. It also aims secondarily and in support of this main end to direct action and production to ensure that they contribute to happiness. Our reason is not only speculative, it is also practical and poetic. That's to say, artisanal, productive. These three orientations cover a multitude of hierarchized operations. In all that it directs, craft reason serves practical reason, and the latter serves speculative reason. The craftsman furnishes the agent with his instruments, and the agent arranges the appropriate situation for study and contemplation. Modern and contemporary culture flouts and upsets this hierarchy. Deriding disinterested knowledge, it imposes on reason a practical end with which it wants to be independent of the speculative good, namely of truth. It also frees artisanal reason from practical reason, terminating any authority of morals over art. To crown its work of liberation, our culture enslaves speculative reason to practical and craft reasons, and practical reason to craft reason, thus giving disproportionate importance to art and technology. Man's good is no longer measured by his wisdom or by his virtue, but by his production, by his economic development. Modernism allows only the research that facilitates action. In addition, it favors action that improves technology. Our contemporaries spend most of their energies updating their instruments, cell phones, computers, cars, and the whole panoply. While busy relearning their handling, they have little time to apply them to their supposed use. Politics itself becomes aberrant. It should coordinate human collaboration for common happiness and therefore concentrate on education. Rather, it is reduced to a set of techniques intended for the infinite development of instruments of material being, the use of which is left to each individual's whim. In common sense, certainly, we must recognize an important freedom to art, even to the one which is said survive. It is the craftsman who sees what it is possible to produce. It is he who masters the production method adapted to the material requested. The traditional definition of art implies it, which describes it as recta ratio factibilium, which means correct judgment on what can be produced. It is neither the wise, nor the moralist, nor the prudent who can enlighten the craftsman either on what it is possible to produce or on how to proceed with it. The craftsman is the sole competent judge of that. However, his art does not tell him what to produce or what not to produce. Ice cream, cars, houses, bordels, computers, cell phones, weapons, nuclear weapons, biochemical ones, medications, alcohol, drugs, fertilizers, insecticides, contraceptives, abortion pills. On all, art judges the possibility and the method of manufacture. It also inspires the instruction booklet on how to use it, if applicable. But should they be produced? On this point, art offers no discernment, nor does it say why or how many to produce. These questions do not concern the good of the work, but that of its user, and the latter's good is always function of a contribution to his happiness. Judging it is the responsibility of the judge of action, the moralist. This is why art must leave it to morals and prudence to decide what it should produce or not, because some technical achievements are debatable and others bad, therefore not to be produced. The nuclear boom, for example, would cause such disproportionate damage that it should not be produced. The only good we dare to credit it with is to dissuade the enemy from using it. Similarly, any product whose use constitutes an immoral action, as well as any product whose benefit balances with disproportionate negative effect, must also be prohibited. The situation is rarely absolute, and the judgment usually concerns the balance of use and consequently the quantity to be produced. For example, the tools that most facilitate human operations, such as computers, internet, robots, cell phones, can introduce without reservation, facilitate certain operations enough to render large numbers of individuals useless and reduce them to starvation. Besides, internet fantastically helps development of knowledge, but spoils the hearts of young people with pornography, bullying, misinformation, vain curiosity. With his art, its producer remains powerless to discern what balance to ensure in the production of relevant tools. Only very refined moral prudence can achieve this. But today, everyone frowns at the mention that the craftsman should submit his projects to the judgment of the moralist, the judgment of political prudence. Any moral criticism sounds fascist.